Hi guys, I'm back again today with a continuation of Ali Dawah and Christian Mom debate Islam. So before we do start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's go straight into the video. There we go. um, yeah, we are all set, I believe, and I feel like the lighting is either worse or better. You guys be the judge, right? So, anyways, let's finish this video.
Sit with her sick child and never leave its side.
Sonny, what's your take on it? Like, what do you think? Because
I mean,
you haven't talked much.
I've kind of just been
I
listening.
know. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Where have you been, like, in your search for, like, where are you at? Like, are you an atheist?
No, I'm not an atheist.
Mm.
I grew up, we didn't really grow up going to church. I went to Catholic high school,
Mm,
and to be honest, in school, I never really paid too much attention. I took scripture and everything, but none of it really resonated with me at all. I mean, some of it did, like some little specific points, but for the most part, I've never like felt the urge to go to church on my own. Even the first time that what was it? Uh, what's it called?
Communion?
Communion? No, not communion.
Confirmation?
Confirmation, yeah. So 10th grade when I went to confirmation. It's like in the church, it's like the 90-year-old dude that, reads the Bible, doesn't do any interpretations. So you don't
oh.
know what's going on. And I would like I was such a little crap. I got kicked out of confirmation the first time.
Yeah, he got kicked out of confirmation class, and I have this 2-page single space typed hilarious letter from the church, and I was so bad. I just thought it was funny. I was like, this kid, because he's just a class clown, and it wasn't flying.
Let me ask you a question. Sonny, when you think about God, how do you see God as? Like, in your, like, putting Islam,
This
Christianity,
is
all this aside,
interesting.
like, put all of them to aside, what do you see God as? Like, well, to you, who is God?
I see God as more of like I guess it sounds weird, but in my brain to try to explain it, it's more like an energy. So it's I don't know, because what I've really been digging into a lot lately is like consciousness and trying to truly understand what is consciousness. Because like it's not just your brain, like your
Yeah.
body is essentially, I don't know, is it a shell or is it truly you? Like what actually are you as a
Mm,
conscious being?
yeah.
You know, I've thought a lot about time. So how time, what could have possibly happened first? Nothing. So time is essentially just relative. If it goes back infinitely and goes forward infinitely, so I see God as something that you can't really like fully wrap your mind around truly of like what God really is.
Mm,
So I kind of see it more as an energy. And I think that the way we were wired from when we were little is to kind of keep us, and even a lot of the stuff that goes on is to keep our brains trapped.
Mm.
So I think that, I don't know, I've had some experience with psychedelics, and I feel like that it sounds crazy, and I know it.
I love the fact that he's very honest, and even if the mom is like right there, he's just talking about anything and everything, like honestly with through about his experience, right? Instead of like try to censor himself. So this is great because it will open up a great conversation and an honest conversation that will resolve into like either problem solving or realizations and all that stuff. So that's great.
You sound like a crazy hippie, but it makes you see that stuff really differently, and you can almost see the different energy. You can feel the different energy levels to an extent, where when you're in your normal self, you don't.
I always say like those things like psychedelics, drugs, alcohol, whatever, they're all cover actually. Because people say, oh, Rookie, why don't you try? You can get in tune with yourself. I was like, why do you bury yourself with all those things? It's actually hiding from your true self because you cannot face your authenticity. You have to like hide behind those drugs to help you see your true self. No, that is BS, I say.
I don't know. It's hard to. You don't feel those things, and
Yeah,
even
you
And
when
see,
just
you can't feel those things because you're hiding it, you're suppressing it from like doing the drugs.
through meditation, deep meditation and prayer, you can feel those
but
things.
I
But you
haven't.
haven't yet. Yeah. I love that
So
you're
you see,
exploring this.
so you see God just as an energy. Like, is that Like, is that what you just seem as?
Essentially, so like you know, obviously, like if I do good in the world and I have good
Yeah,
intentions, I
karma.
agree. Like that good comes back around. I think
Okay,
you know.
so that's more like the works of God. But what about himself, God himself? Would you give it, like, for example, if I look at a painting, I look at the painting and I go, okay, number one, I acknowledge that somebody willed this painting to come. Number two, there's an individual. Number three, it's beautiful, so he's good at what he does. So I will give some attributes by looking at the painting. So when you look at around us and the creation, for example, is there any attributes that you give them, or do you see? Because some people you can see them as just like energy. I just believe it's just a power source, or do you give more than that? Is it more like a
Mm.
personal God to you, or is it more just like something there? Like,
Right. Some see
I don't.
the old man with the white beard
No,
in
yeah.
you know, on a throne on a
Well,
cloud, you know.
when I was little, I think that's what all the kids think because that's what's portrayed on TV and stuff.
Mm.
It's like the man sitting in the clouds. But at this point, I don't see that at all. I don't know. I feel like I'm not praying if I do to a person. I don't even know how to explain it, to be quite honest. Like it's
Okay.
kind of.
A
I
source.
feel like it's like explaining colors to a blind person to
Yeah.
try to explain God. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
All right, interesting. Okay. Well, one question to your mom. If argument's sake, if he was to accept Islam, argument's sake, how would you feel, and how would you like? What would it mean to you? Like, just hypothetically, if he was.
Nice
Yeah,
question.
I think the answer to that question will change as I continue on this path and learn more. But right now, today, I would be supportive because I love him and I want what's best for him. And if he's living the right life, like a
Aw.
really walking a straight path and doing the right things and staying away from, gambling and drugs and alcohol and all the things, I would be supportive, but it would make me sad
Mm.
because for me, my Christianity is becoming such a big part of my life that it's something I want to share with him and I want to experience it with him as a family. And also just, the culturally, people will go back hundreds of years and tell me I know Sicily. Yeah. The Moors are there, whatever. I'm just talking about like the last few generations of my family, the last 4 or 5 generations, just like Italian, a couple generations ago, they moved to America. So we're just a Sicilian Catholic, rituals and holidays that we celebrate that really are important. And for me, they're in my DNA. And I would feel like he would be then disconnected from his ancestors. And that matters to me because culture, it doesn't matter as much as God, but it does matter.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good for humanity for us to have
Yeah, cultural
culture
traditions are
and
beautiful.
traditions.
Yeah.
So I would struggle. It would hurt me, but not enough to put a rift between us. Like I will let nothing come between us.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, my mom's always been supportive of me, even though when my dad was really like hostile, my mom's always been there. Like she supported me. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I don't think his dad would be hostile either. I think his dad would also be kind of like how I am. Maybe a little less so, but he would. You got to make sure
I would have to explain it, obviously. You'd be like,
Yeah, and I'm glad. I just hope that you'll explore as you're exploring this. You'll explore other avenues and really find the one that's right for you. And when you're 19, maybe you are old enough to you are old enough, but maybe you will come to conclusions now. But this is a journey that may take a while too. It takes like you've only been with Islam for 10 years.
3.5 years. I looked into it 3.5 years, like Bible, Islam, different. Like it is a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful journey. I think working, no matter what you end up believing, again, I think that these just may be different paths to the same place.
Does Islam believe in like a third eye almost? Because there's some times where I feel like I'm just walking around and stuff just feels like dull to an extent. So almost like brain fog, but it feels like there's like a third wall in front of my eyes that it's like allowing me to just not see stuff for what it truly is. Do you know what I mean?
So
like I feel like I can't have a true connection with stuff around.
I feel like it's
even when I'm like
psychological
walking in
though.
nature. I'm like, I don't know. It sounds weird.
To be honest, I don't know about the third eye thing. I don't know exactly what that is, but we in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that indeed in the remembrance of God do hearts find peace. And in another verse it says, if you forget my remembrance, you will have a depressed life. So what we believe as Muslims is that we have the fitrah. The fitrah is the innate disposition. So this is what kind of one of the reasons I came to Islam, because there was a study done in Oxford University by Justin Barrett. So what he did is he got young kids and he did an experiment where he realized that all these young kids, if you put Islam and all these religions to a side, don't tell them nothing about it, they have an inclination to worshiping a god. Yeah. So to me, that was like very profound, because what that shows is that if I woke up in the Amazon jungle, I would worship God.
Believe
I would not
something, yeah.
worship Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, Ganesh, anybody. I have an innate disposition to find God. So this is what's really unique to me with Islam, because it was like, wow, I could be a Muslim without Islam in that context. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And
That's fascinating. Yeah.
Without the label,
so what is that
yeah.
called is the fitrah, the innate disposition. So that's why when he was talking about, you know, was having a, you know, a little mini debate with your dear mom, may Allah bless her, guide her. And the thing is, and that's when I was saying, can God cease to exist? It's like, no, because that's the fitrah saying, of course not. Can God lie? Of course not. So what we say is these are the things God has programmed us with to find him. Do you get it? Like sometimes when something doesn't make sense, we're like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense, but we have a leap of faith. So sometimes when I speak to people, like I was speaking to a Buddhist, who's like, yeah, they believe in this guy who claims to be divine. And I said, do you really believe that? And he was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But I'm like, okay, but you know, if it doesn't make sense, yeah, you know, because it's your innate disposition waking you up. So what you're talking about, that fog, is like, it goes to our day-to-day life. We will never find happiness. That's why when I came from a lifestyle of clubbing, partying, girls, it was never fulfilling. You know why? Just as the body requires food and drink and sleep, the soul requires soul food. Yeah. What that means is your soul requires the remembrance of God. That is the only way you find happiness. That's why we tend to go through this cycle of chasing. I know if I have the hottest girlfriend, I'll be happy. No, she's not making me happy. There's someone more beautiful. If I have this car, if I have that, the soul is craving and wanting the need of God, but we are feeding it the wrong food. So what it does, when you give the stomach the wrong food, it vomits it.
Yeah.
It takes it back out because they're saying this is not good for me. So the soul is doing the same thing. That's why you see so many people going through depression, anxiety, because you're giving the soul the wrong food. And only in the remembrance of God would your heart find peace. So that's why, to me, when a person acknowledges the sweet, we call it the sweetness of faith. When you have that, they can take the whole world from you. You're like, I don't need it. It's this, I cannot explain it, but not that I'm saying I have it, by the way. I'm not trying to sound pious here. But when you have that, you realize that is the only thing that you ever needed. That is the only thing you ever needed, you know? And yeah, I think that's what it might be. I'm saying maybe it's what you're saying about I can't see things clearly. Maybe it might be that.
I love everything you just said, and I want to reiterate it, but add to it that feeling that like if what we call on the practical side intuition, a lot of that time is God talking to you.
Yeah.
And so when you get back in touch and you refocus on God, like he's saying, that feeling comes to life again, because he's there, he's present in your gut and in your you could feel your soul and you could feel him talking to you. So when you have that and you're walking in nature, you suddenly just are more open and it's and connected. It gets rid of that third wall that you're talking about. God makes that third wall just evaporate.
Yeah. So I'm pretty into the red pill stuff, but not in the typical manosphere way where it's like, you know, the way they look at women. Like I'm more in like the Matrix sense where I just want to wake up and like really find the truth, because I feel like I've been so programmed, and the more I dig, it goes so much deeper than I even thought.
Yeah.
Like I was watching videos about consciousness last night, and I was watching about how even the way we just percept things has to do with like multiples of under 4. And it's like, we're taught that since we're little. And that even just, it's such a innate wiring in your brain, something little like that, as to how you look at anything. So it goes so deep, and it's weird.
It's really
like
wild.
that.
A marketing media, what they teach us in school, for which textbook you get is going to determine how you see something, and
everything.
so we are programmed like computers, and God's the great like deprogrammer.
Exactly. If you're being told how to think, how do you have a choice? That's what I would say. But no, have a choice. Really? All these programming and all this stuff that you watch doesn't have an impact on your decision factors?
But people who are anti-religion will say that we're programmed.
Yeah, true.
But like you said,
this though.
Ooh.
We don't deny the programming. We say we'd rather be programmed by God.
Yeah, because it's the
Yes,
creator.
I
No,
love
that
that.
makes
Thank you, because I'm
it
going to
makes
use that.
perfect sense because I totally agree. Like all these liberals and stuff that are pushing for all these crazy agendas, that's what they're idolizing is abortions and being, sleeping around and all of that stuff. That's what they idolize, and that's so unfulfilling. I mean, those
They're not
people,
happy.
they're
Yeah.
all they get
Like-
depressed, and then they
like-
go to the doctor, and even the doctor who you see as the verified truth is now telling them to take a pill and that
Exactly.
losing weight, getting a better diet. So I'm like how, this is what I've grown up to see as innate truth and to trust. And I'm like, I just see all of it as such a scam
It's
nowadays.
true
You know
though.
what I mean?
Like the people who own the hospitals and the medical industry are the same people who own the fast food industry. Why? Because they make money from you getting diseases from all this food, and then they bring you to their hospital, they give you more medicine to make you crazy, and then go back to the food, and then it's just them making money, right? In a larger scheme of things, it's like that, right?
And I even look at stuff like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but even stuff like the mind gut connection, where I always felt something like that, where if I leave the house and I feel something in my gut, it's like, what did I forget? And then I go back and I see it right away.
Mm.
It's little stuff like that
The
where I'm
intuition.
never taught any of it. It just feels like everything with school, everything was just to program me. So even if it's not in the
That's why me and my friend were talking like recently about like depression and all that stuff. We're like, back in the days they had worse than what we have nowadays. But why is it that in our society, in our culture now, we have more depressed people in comparison to once upon a time? Because back in the days people just healed themselves because like we didn't have this medical or media or social media to kind of like diagnose us with all these new crazy things, right? So I feel like, and also our body is like self-healing, right? Like we regenerate cells, we heal as well. I mean, some people can't, and not everything will heal, but in a larger sense we do. So sometimes like all those things that they program into us is not needed because we already know them, low key, high key, whatever key, right? Am I even
sense of
talking
like I'm
sense?
trying to find the truth and what prophet said this. I'm just trying to find the actual truth of what's around me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm,
But by the way, I
yeah, definitely.
apologize for cutting you. I was cutting you, not the other way around, by the way. Yeah. So forgive me, I was trying to cut it. Yeah, it's like you said, even I'm reading a book called Irreversible Damage.
Oh, I'm reading it too.
Ooh, interesting.
Before it gets banned, yeah. So the thing is, it's crazy. That 16-year-old girl there who, I mean, amputating herself
Oh,
literally.
the transgender girl.
Yeah. Which she.
Oh no,
my God.
it's about this transgender push on teenagers and how
Oh,
basically it's being used as escapism, because
Yeah.
being a teenager is a weird time in life, and it can be
I want to
difficult.
read
And so
that.
they're just
I'm
giving
gonna look if there's
kids
an
a place
Audible
to
because I
go
want
where
to
then
watch.
they feel like they have some
Listen.
control and they can
Yeah.
get out of it,
Yeah.
and then they're end up being
Yeah.
just as suicidal or even more suicidal than they were before.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
It shows they
That's what
they
we're talking
became more
about.
suicidal.
Like this society is making us even more depressed than we should be, or than the people in the past. Like the past, they went through wars and all that stuff, and they're fine. Yes, they had PTSD and all that stuff, but it's not as severe as nowadays, right?
After. So the thing is, you're going to these doctors, and these doctors are just, these
Exactly what we're talking
prescriptions
about.
they give you, they get money out of that. So how could you even trust somebody who has got a different agenda?
I was prescribed like there's this lady that I went to see, and she prescribed me like freaking millions of medicine. Until today, it's there. I don't want to like. I'm scared. Okay, that's the reason why I did it. I don't take like those medicines if it talks about like something to do with your nerves or your brains. I don't want to take them, especially when she told me that, oh, when you take this medicine, like you will calm down. I don't like those things. Like that's why when I was talking about drugs a while ago, it's like suppressing who you truly are. And now you're gonna give me a medicine that's gonna like calm me down. Like I don't need to calm down. I'm already good, right? I'm fine. Like I'm fine. I don't need it's really calming. I'm not like hysteric or anything. Anyways, um so when she said that you will just like your mood will just switch, I was like, why do I need to switch my mood? I'm fine. um so I just took the medicine, and then what's this, I just kept it there. It's been there. I'm gonna throw it away soon, but I think I should like, I don't know if I should. I don't think I should throw it away like that, because obviously somebody takes like in the Philippines people do that. They go to your trash can. So if people see it, they might take it, and it's very. I think it can be very addicting because it's a antidepressant medicines. So I think it's not good to just throw it away like that. Maybe I'll just flush it, but it's kind of low key like sus, right? It's like, what is Rookie flushing in a toilet? Some drugs.
and you're going in for help. Oh, can you help me? I feel like this. Oh, I know the solution is, why don't you take these hormones? So like
Yeah,
your mom said as
it's
well,
like
your dear
hormones.
mother
True.
said, that, and it's very similar to Islam, which is that Allah says in the Quran, have you seen the one who takes his desires as his own God? This is the issue that we're facing today. People are taking their desires as their God. Literally, whatever I want to do, I want to do it. And that corrupts your soul. You're not meant to have anything and everything you want. You get what I'm trying to say? Some things that are earned taste the sweetest. So yeah, it's sadly we live in this.
No, 100%, and that's just not what we're taught. Like even with the failure in school, you're literally taught that you need to get stuff right on the first time, and if you fail, you get punished for it.
Yeah, we have tests and we don't have the same level of like understanding. Like for example, I might be good at like arts, and then the other person is good in logic and stuff like that, like science and whatever. But then we are told that we have to be good at all those things. Like if you're not good at it, then you fail. You have to stay back, and everybody else will move forward. Like we are not all built the same. Yes, humanly we're equal in a sense. It's not even. We're not equal because we don't all have the same genitalia and hormones. So no, we're not all the same. So don't tell me that in my freaking math class I have to ace it. Okay, I still have bitterness. Okay, in school because it was pressure to to like know something that I'm not even interested in, or I don't like, or I can't understand.
Taught that you need to like just try and almost go for failure so that you can learn from it. And then you look at how that affects your business life, and you're like, you need to fail in business, and that's just not the way you're wired. So it's so much deeper. Like it goes into every aspect of life.
It's failure that makes you successful. I mean, when you go to the gym, you're training to failure. It's those failures that make you big. We need the failures, otherwise we'll never have success.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It goes with everything, and that's why even listening to like Andrew Tate, because he says a lot of the same stuff that I feel like we all innately believe. And it's
Yeah.
just changed the way I look at life so much.
It-
Even like
he talks a lot of fact, but it comes from a very nasty mouth. But regardless, he talks a lot of fact.
like stress is a good thing. You don't always like going for just happiness all the time. That doesn't make any sense because you need
Exactly. If you're happy, you will not know sadness. If you're not sad, you will not know happiness. It's a balance. It has to be. I thought I was talking to you guys about this a while ago, but it's another channel.
to have negativity in your life to truly enjoy that happiness.
True.
Of course.
So
You
if you
know
just-
one. I'm
No,
so
you go.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I just get passionate.
He's so yeah. He's so
I
passionate.
love it. It means everybody's
It's like me.
excited, and it's a
I have
good
to control it.
conversation. Don't be silly.
I get passionate. I'm so sorry. Finish your sentence.
No, I was going to say if all you do is look for happiness, that's more empty inside, But if you look at, if you're going through a negative time as a good thing, because
Yeah.
once you experience
you
that
embrace
happiness,
the
it's even better. And
sadness.
you're building blocks for yourself. Like when I have a kid and they get injured or something, I'm going to like celebrate it. And I'm going to teach them from the very start that like the only reps that count in the gym are the ones that hurt. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like when you're doing like your 10 reps and then it starts to hurt, that's when you do more. When you're going through a struggle in, homework or business, like that's the only
Even my grandmother, because I'm here, right? So she can walk, not really, like for short distance, like babies, when they walk and she cannot walk without like holding anything. But I low key, like when she wants to pee, I low key try to set her wheelchair far away from her potty. Because I just want her to like try to at least like practice her, her walks, instead of just like helping her make it easy. Even when she's like reaching for her water, I can see that she's having a hard time, but I want her to do it on her own, because when we do those, like all those failures, all those falls, all those things will help us like regain, like children, right? We didn't come out of the wood walking. We started crawling, and then we started walking step by step, and then we fall, and then we get up. So like tough love,
Time it matters, none of the other stuff when it's easy, that doesn't mean anything.
That's interesting. There's a verse in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِنَّ مَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Verily, with hardship comes ease. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Which is interesting because it's like, why does God have to repeat the same statement again? Unless it's something so deep and important.
Right.
You look at anything in life, yeah? Think about it. If with hardship comes ease, the opposite is true.
Yeah.
With
ease comes hardship.
Hardship. Yes.
Well,
right.
The point is that we live in such ease. We live like kings. I can open my fridge and I've got orange juice, cranberry juice, water, oat milk, and kings did not live like us.
Yeah.
And this ease causes us in the long run to have hardship. That's the reason why, when it comes to training, like you said, I would tell my wife, if I was to ever have a son, at 3 years old, I'm going to start, giving him little jabs, here and there, because you have to. Look at Khabib. If you looked at how his father brought him up, you would say this man is torturing. Call the police. Somebody call the child support or something. But if you look at how he turned out, because the hardship that you give in the long run gives you ease, and when you do the opposite and give anything to your children, I mean, look at kids when you spoil them,
yeah,
whatever they want. How do they turn up? They don't appreciate nothing.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
exactly. So this concept with hardship comes ease. You can apply this anywhere and you see the results, whether it is training with your partner,
children,
you see the fruits of it later.
Yeah, and I just, it makes perfect sense. And I just see so many traps nowadays to keep people down. Like even with like a phone, like this is the biggest trap of them all, because you don't give yourself the chance to sit down and even think. You know what I mean? Like no one has original thoughts anymore. And I was just talking to my friend in the army, and he said how for during basic training, when they didn't have their phone for weeks, he said stories that he hasn't thought of in years were just flying back to him. And I'm like, God, like that's so crazy, because anytime someone's bored nowadays, even for a second at a dinner where you're talking to someone, you just look at your phone.
I hate that.
And half of the time I
hate that. Like, how are you gonna be around people and then on your phone? Like, but I low-key, my friends I think hate me sometimes, because whenever we hang out and they're on their phone, I was like, we should have just chatted online. Like, what are we doing here? Because that's one of my pet peeve. Like, you're gonna waste my time and invite me to go out, and then you're gonna be on your phone. Like, excuse-moi, am I not in front of you? Like, disrespect much. So I just don't like that. But yes, I do that as well, because I want to like capture the moment. So even if like it's something that I complain about, I low-key still do it, because I stay on my phone to like take pictures or to like Instagram stuff, right? So yeah, I'm not perfect. Even if I hate it, I still do it as well, because they're freaking on their phone.
feel like I'm looking at my phone. I mean, at least I'm acknowledging it and I'm trying to break it, but I'm just like opening Instagram, scroll through the DMs, nothing.
Not even,
it's like I'm not
even
doing
anything.
Just doing it.
Have you done this before? Like, I realized to myself, it becomes a habit. So you got open one app, open another, and you do that. You turn off, and you do the same thing. I done it, and I done it subconsciously, and I was like, that.
Yeah.
I didn't willingly do that. I went to the same apps in sync, like one after another. And I thought to myself, why am I doing that? It's just like a pattern. It's like Instagram.
Programming.
Instagram. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was scary. It was scary. It was like, is it me? Am I making the decisions now?
No, but you have to know, like it must be so intentional by the people who created this.
It
so
is.
Actually, no, there are documentaries.
Yes, I was gonna say, like maybe the mom watched the same documentary, And literally the programmer said, yes, it's intentional. We made it addictive. I forget the name of the social, I think it's called social something. I forget, but it was creepy. When I watched that, I was like, what the lama. So it's definitely.
You can very easily available to look at and see that they made very specific programming choices in order to get us addicted.
I've
Yeah.
heard plenty of old philosopher quotes about how they, keep people's minds distracted and keep them weak, and there's nothing that they can do. They can't stand up for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why,
This is
especially yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say it's a wonderful, wonderful time to be alive, because this kind of thing has been going on all throughout history of controlling people with narratives in different ways. And now we just have the technology. They created the technology
It
to keep
makes
the
it
masses in
easier.
their phones and stupid. But there's also this technology has this other effect of being able to spread knowledge and awaken people from this programming and this thing. And it's slow because the damage is so deep. It's not going to be easy, but this is a cool time to be alive and watch some people come awake from this trance.
A lot
if
of
you
people
will.
don't even want to be awakened, though. You know what I mean? That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. So,
Well, that's all right. We
That's
know
their
where they're going.
problem,
I
yeah.
don't know.
We covered that.
What were you gonna say?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's something.
I love that. If we're interrupting each other, that means we're all excited
Yeah,
to
engaged.
contribute. And I really appreciate that. Sorry, my phone's barking.
All right. I saw one of your shorts. I wanted to bring this up. I don't know if this might just take too long to talk about.
Let me guess. Is it a feminist one?
Sort of, yeah.
Which one is that?
It was about women having to sleep with their husband.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the
Probably get
most
questions on this one all the time.
viral.
Yeah, go on. What's your question?
No, so I just wanted to talk about that because that's one of the things that you mentioned before, and you were like, "That sounds crazy." And I see both sides.
Now
to
I
be
see
honest.
both sides.
I
Yeah.
heard your full point, but then I could also see what you're gonna say. It's like, you just because you protect me doesn't mean I have to give you shit when. Oh, sorry for swearing, but
right, because I don't. All right, so the conversation, and correct me if I'm wrong, was that the wife has an obligation if her husband wants relations to give it to him, and if not, she's going to be cursed by angels. Okay, I was like, I bristled at that. The explanation was he has an obligation to provide and so to protect you if somebody comes and pulls a knife on you in the street. He has an obligation to protect his wife, and I agree that she does, but that doesn't an obligation to protect personal safety does not equal an obligation to satisfy a desire.
That's what I said also.
That's not an absolute necessity. Life. So, and as a woman, I can tell you that if you're not in the mood, or you have a physical problem, or there's any reason under the sun.
Yeah, Ali Dawah's side, he said if there's a reason, it's fine. But if you're not in the mood, I think that is when it's not fine.
You don't want to do that. It
for no reason.
It's not. It should never be that way. And to me, that sounds really disrespectful to women. And to say that I'm going to be cursed by angels, you know what? I've met a lot of men. I'd rather be cursed. Thanks anyway. Keep moving. You know what I'm saying? So it really, I think it's an obligation of both partners in a marriage to make themselves, loved and attractive to each other, and to be kind and respectful of what is supposed to be a beautiful moment of intimacy. So I really bristled at that video, but please respond.
Yeah. So that video is a short. If you watch the full video, in the full video, you can see that this is talking about a woman that's manipulating a man using intimacy. So I'll read you something. So basically, I believe that the greatest inequality is to treat unequal things equally. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the greatest inequality is to treat unequal things equally. So here's what the studies
which is kind of what I just said.
Like the feminism movement,
kind of just said that protecting personal safety and satisfying an urge to not.
Equal.
Yeah, so like treating men
should
and
not
women
be treated equally because they're not.
Okay, so the point here is the following. So before I go on to that, let me just read the study. The study says the sex drive refers to the strength of sexual motivation across many different studies and measures men have shown to have more frequent and more intense sexual desires than women, as reflected in spontaneous thoughts about sex, frequency of variety of sexual fantasies, desired frequency of intercourse, desired number of partners, masturbation, liking for various sexual practices, willingness to forgo sex, initiating versus refusing sex, making sacrifices for sex, and other measures. No contrary findings indicating stronger sexual motivation among women were found. Now, the study shows that
I've read similar studies. Yeah, that's common knowledge, roughly common knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. So men and women are different. They have, for us, the opposite gender and our sexual urges are much higher than a woman. So what I was saying is the following. This is talking about, which I've mentioned, I had a discussion a couple of years ago with another lady from America, actually. She was mentioning this as well. So this hadith is talking about a woman who is manipulating a man using intimacy, so blackmailing him. So we acknowledge.
Yeah, in that circumstance, very fair statement. But in other circumstances, yeah, I cannot. It's kind of like different, right? It's not in comparison. But if it's like blackmailing, then that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, you make sense. I agree with you. But if it's outside of that blackmailing thingy, then no, I'm not with you. You lost me.
If a woman is in her period, menopause, she's not feeling well, she's tired, no one in their right mind would ever say, no, you have to. Because if you look at the hadith says what? If the man wants intimacy, as Muslim men, we are not allowed to be promiscuous. We're not allowed to sleep around. We're not allowed to have chicks, girlfriends, and mistresses. We have a wife we come back to. We work hard. We provide for them. We love them. We come home. And imagine coming home and then your wife is saying no because she's being malicious. Not, I'm tired today. Which man in their right mind will say, no, I don't care if you're tired or you've been looking after the kids or you're on your menses. No, that is valid reasons.
All right, so malice is different. Malice is now you're just being a witch.
So
it's intent based.
Yeah.
It's intent.
What she's doing is the following. I am going to use this, your greatest desire, against you and not give you what you want unless you do, argument's sake, A, B, and C.
Oh, a lot of women do that. Yeah,
exactly.
It's awful.
So the hadith is talking about that, which I mentioned to her. I said, look, these exceptions are fine. Now, when we talk about a man, when I give the example of a man in a situation where if somebody pulls out a knife, the comparison I made was the following. In one instance, the man is willing to die for you. He's willing to put his life on the line. The point was he's willing to die for you. Not, I'm doing this for you, I want that. It's like, as a husband, he loves you so much.
I just realized there's brightness.
And when he wants intimacy, you say no for no valid reasons, but be malicious. So the argument wasn't, hey, I've done A, therefore you need to give me this, even if you're tired. It wasn't
Makes
that.
sense now.
If you watch the full video, it was that men and women, a woman is in a most vulnerable state when it comes to physical combat. So a man has to perform
protect,
because she's physically not well. If I turn around and said, sorry, I do not want to defend you now. You go do what you want. I'll be called a coward. And if she was to be harmed, be it being punched in the face or being harmed, I would be called out for it. You're stronger than her. Why would you? Her family will beat me up. Her family will say, we entrusted our daughter with you. So the point is, when we look at it from the opposite spectrum, a man is most vulnerable when it comes to intimacy. So when he's coming to his wife and avoiding and lowering his gaze and not looking at other women and not being promiscuous, and he wants intimacy, and she says no, not because of a valid reason, but because I'm going to be malicious, that is why the angels are cursing her. Not because, oh, I'm tired, I'm not feeling well. The hadith doesn't say that, just to be clarified.
All right. Yeah, I owe you an apology.
And it's okay.
And I owe
myself,
I owe myself a slap on the wrist, right?
Well, that's short form content for you.
Because I judged you on that, and I want to let me apologize because I truly am sorry, and I really appreciate that clarification. And my slap on the wrist to myself is shame on me, because all I talk about all the time is don't believe short form content. Things are easily taken out of context and twisted, and that's really what in that short, it's provocative because it really doesn't explain it the way you just did.
But that's why it gets so many views.
So shame on me for following, for breaking my own rule, and thank you for understanding.
Right. And I would actually say, I don't blame you. I would personally say, I think it's maybe my fault because I didn't add the clarification. So I was pondering upon this. I might even take it down, because in the full video, I give the clarification. but the way my editor edited it, I thought that it didn't do justice. So I could have not put that snippet. So it's actually I'm the one to be ashamed, and I should give myself 1, 2, 3 slaps on my wrist because I didn't. Yes, it's correct because we have to be just. Because if I'm causing suspicion, that's my fault. And I might even take the video down today and put one which gives clarification properly.
Because you're trying to shed a positive light and a welcoming light on Islam and draw more people in. And that, I bristled. So I'm so grateful for your clarification. And
I'm grateful for giving me
that
cool.
feedback.
I'm grateful that you gave me that feedback because it shows me, like, I don't sometimes think, does my videos reach? I think maybe Muslims watch it. The fact that it reached you shows me that I have more responsibility. Be very careful what I share because that discussion is a 24-minute discussion, and none of the comments actually said that. But on the shorts, the feedback was different, just as like you said, because it's my fault. I didn't put the entire clarification, so I am to blame here, and I would fix it. Thanks for giving me feedback.
Thank you.
The thing though is giving clarification in short form content, then the video doesn't do
yeah.
So this kind of leads
and
me
also
on to
it's
another question
hard
I had
to give clarification.
What do you think
shorts.
about like clickbait? And let's say, if you used a strategy like that where you purposely didn't give all the context for the video to go more viral, but then you directed people to the full video. What are your thoughts on that? Is that
okay? I'm known as some people think that I've done my PhD in clickbait. So basically, a lot of people, because I'm known as a clickbait. Okay.
I get a lot of comments also like that. Like, stop reacting to this Ali Dawah and hijab. They're just cloud chasers, which I don't know. Okay, I don't know if they are or they're not. Only God knows, right? Only they know also what they're doing. But the reason why I do is because I get requested to do them. It's not like I'm sitting here just looking for what video will get the most views. And you know what? To be honest, they don't get the most views. I can react to other things that will get more views than this, to be honest with you. So I'm not doing this just for that. It's because it's requested and it's paid request as well. So we have to give justice, of course. And I do enjoy it. I don't know if they're doing it for the good cause, but we don't know about the cloud chasing part. But that is like, their situation. That's their problem. Like, us as a viewer, let's take what we can learn from them and not judge them, right?
Now, when it comes to clickbait, we have to be very careful because as Muslims, we are not allowed to lie. So my clickbaits I put true statements there. So the statement is true. But like, for example, I did one. I would recommend you to watch it. Yeah. It's called Ali and his wife gets a new house. Yeah. So in my background and the thumbnail, it looks like a bungalow. And it looks like we moved on to a new house. But I actually show the grave and I go, this is our eternal home. So do you see? It's like it's interesting. But so when it comes to clickbait, a lot of people complain as well sometimes. Oh, you're doing clickbait. But sometimes it's like it can work as long as you're not lying. To me, it's like as long as the statement's true, what you're saying, it's not big of an issue. But obviously, you have to be careful because at the end of the day, sometimes people like I do clickbaits because I want people to benefit of the content. Some people do clickbaits because it's like, oh, I need to make more money on YouTube. I need more views, etc. So to me, it's like I want the maximum amount of people to benefit from that video. So for example, I would use a clip of our discussion here, and I will write, what if Sonny became a Muslim? ? So it's kind of like, oh my gosh, did he become a Muslim? And then it's your mom's feedback saying, okay, if he did, this is how a relationship would be. So do you see where it's like,
or mom reacts to son converting to Islam, and then people will click on it, and then it's the hypothetical. No, I know exactly what you mean, and that's personally what I would say is like it's cutting a little bit of the integrity for an overall good, because then people click on the video and then they see what you're truly talking
and you're
about.
not really lying, right? It's not like, oh, Ruki reverted and then you click on it but she didn't, right? So that's the lying aspect of a clickbait.
A semi-dishonest way. I did the same thing with the Andrew Tate reaction videos at first. I don't know if you watched any of them, but I made the thumbnails be like sexist, misogynist, and then in the video we're just giving our real thoughts, but we just knew that would get more views.
It's marketing, and God, like, the whole reason we got here was to talk about Islam and Christianity, and like God's a marketer too. right? You know, if you think about it, miracles, prophecies,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, that's all
Yeah.
marketing on his own part. And, you know, as long as we do, and his good intent is in it. And so if your intent is still good, like you're saying back, you talked about it in depth. I think it's okay. If
Mhm.
no one's getting hurt and,
Yeah.
and your intentions are good
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
outcome is good and you're
Agreed.
shepherding God's money the way
Yeah.
it brings you money that you shepherd and
Exactly.
you're a good steward of it. Oh, wow. Well, we should probably get going.
Yeah.
It's been a long
Yes.
conversation
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
late
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
We went right through your dinner, didn't we?
It's fine. I'm doing 1 meal a day. OMAD diet. So my
Mm.
wife's going to be cooking, so don't worry. But thank you. Look, it was a pleasure. At the end of the day, this is how it needs to be. Both faiths, Muslim, Christian, Jews, talk and discuss. You know, I don't like it when things get hostile. Our job is to convey.
Yeah.
You know, so it was nice. We had a discussion. We had a little mini debate. You know, we agreed to disagree. It's as simple as that. You move on. You know, so I hope it's a fine example to show that people from two different worlds, two different countries, two different worlds, religion, be it religion, that they come together, have a discussion. People learn. You take what you take. You leave the good, and you take the good and leave the bad. And yeah, it was a pleasure. It was really nice meeting you. I was gonna actually get my mom to come, but it's snowing here, so she couldn't. I was gonna be like me and my mom and speak, but yeah, she didn't.
Well, maybe some other time we could do
Yeah.
that because that would
Yeah.
be
That'd be funny.
fun. That I would love to meet your mom, and if we get out there, we'll do it live.
Yeah, no problem.
Ooh,
Thank
that
you
would
for your
be
time.
very
and
cool.
yeah, hope you enjoy your sunny weather. We'll be enjoying the snow here. But yeah, that's it. If you have any other questions, anything you need, I'm here at your service. Thank you for your time.
Same
Awesome.
here. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So much.
I definitely have more to talk about, so we'll do another call.
Okay, no
Awesome.
problem. Anytime.
All
Thank you very
right. Thank you. Bye.
much. Bye bye.
Oh, that was so cool. Yeah, it's really great to have that sit down conversation without being like, um, you know, like too, like, how do you call it? Like, not quarreling, but just discussing. Those are very, very interesting. I don't know what happened. I feel like the lighting today got worse. But anyways, I have to go because it's the lady who's taking care of my grandmother is leaving. So it's just gonna be us. And yes, so I have to go now. Thank you guys for joining. If you like this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.